Before you speak, people may already begin forming an impression. Sometimes, small body language habits can unintentionally make us appear less confident. These behaviors don't define confidence. They simply may influence how others perceive us in certain situations. First habit may be closed posture. Rounded shoulders can sometimes create the impression of uncertainty, especially during introductions. Small posture adjustments often create a more open and comfortable presence without appearing forced. Another habit may be minimizing natural gestures. Comfortable hand movement often helps ideas feel easier to follow. Gestures don't need to be large. Even small, natural movements can support clear communication. Frequent shifting of posture may sometimes create the impression of physical restlessness, depending on the situation. Brief moments of stillness often make movement appear more intentional and relaxed. Comparing different speaking styles reminds us that confidence is often communicated through consistency rather than intensity. So far, we've explored 3 everyday habits. None of them determine confidence, but together they may influence the impression we create. Another habit may be holding unnecessary tension in the hands. Relaxed hands often make communication appear more natural. Small, purposeful gestures can sometimes make ideas feel clearer without needing dramatic movement. Another habit may be consistently looking downward while speaking. Depending on the situation, this can sometimes create the impression of uncertainty. Comfortable eye contact usually feels balanced rather than constant.
We must act now. The market requires immediate action.
Speaking with slower, more deliberate movement may sometimes create a calmer first impression. Movement doesn't need to be reduced. It often becomes more effective when it matches the pace of the conversation. Another habit is feeling the need to respond immediately. A thoughtful pause can sometimes communicate composure instead. A brief pause often gives both the speaker and the listener time to process the conversation. And it makes my answer feel more considered. These habits don't determine confidence. They simply influence how communication may be perceived in different situations. The strongest first impressions usually come from consistent, natural communication, rather than trying to appear perfect. Another habit may be speaking while holding unnecessary tension in the upper body. Relaxation often helps communication feel more natural. The goal isn't to eliminate movement. It's to allow movement to feel comfortable and intentional. Confident communication often begins with attentive listening, rather than preparing the next response. Open body orientation may sometimes create a stronger sense of engagement during conversations. Comfortable pacing often creates a calmer impression than hurried movement. Purposeful gestures often guide attention toward your ideas instead of your movements. Small adjustments in posture and pacing can sometimes change how confidence is perceived, even when the message stays exactly the same. Comfort often becomes visible when the body no longer feels the need to constantly adjust itself. These behaviors are not rules. They are simply examples of communication habits that may influence first impressions. Confidence rarely comes from trying to look confident. It often grows from feeling comfortable enough to communicate naturally. By now, one idea becomes clear. Confidence is often communicated through comfort rather than perfection. Speaking at the right moment may sometimes feel more confident than speaking first. Comfortable body language often begins with feeling present, instead of worrying about every movement. The difference is often subtle. Small reductions in unnecessary movement may create a calmer overall impression. Steady movement often communicates calm attention without trying to impress. These communication habits are not rules. They are simply examples of behaviors that may influence first impressions. The goal isn't to eliminate every nervous habit. It's to communicate in a way that feels authentic and comfortable. Many confident communicators don't appear calm because they never feel nervous. They simply continue communicating naturally despite normal feelings of pressure. Body language doesn't determine confidence. It simply becomes one part of how people may interpret everyday communication. But confidence isn't about removing every nervous habit. It's about becoming comfortable enough to communicate naturally.